when we think about meetings, we want to move away from that. This is a screenshot from Google, probably about a year or two ago, how people feel about meetings. So clearly there's a lot of room for improvement. And when you dive into the data, there's sort of two things that stand out for us that we really want to change. One is the amount of time that is spent scheduling. Right now, on average, a US office worker spends about 1.5 hours a week just managing their calendar. Setting up meetings, moving them around, accepting, responding, and so on. The other thing is, about 40% of meetings that do take place tend to be unproductive. And you're probably wondering, why are all my meetings in these 40%? So there's lots of reasons for that. Some, you might just not be able to hear what's going on. Some, the discussion might be all over the place. Or maybe you just don't have the right tools. So while we haven't solved all of those yet, we think we actually have pretty good solutions for a number of them. And so that's what we want to show you in this session. My hope is that you can leave this with like 2 or 3 things that you can take home to your organization to make meetings better over the next few weeks. Just to make sure we're all on the same page, I just want to give a very brief overview of what we consider our meeting solutions. On the top left, you have Hangouts Meet. It's our video conferencing service. You can connect to high-quality video meetings from any laptop, mobile phone, or tablet. If you want to hook up your rooms and you want to turn any room into a meeting room, you can use the Hangouts Meet hardware. It then allows those meeting rooms to connect to the very same calls. We got Jamboard right here, so clearly you'll see more of that later in the show. But it's our digital whiteboard that lets you do remote brainstorming quite easily. And then lastly, there's Calendar. Calendar sort of coordinates it all and makes sure you got the right people in the right place at the right time. So with that, it's demos from here on out. Again, everything you're going to see either is already live in our product or will be there in the next few weeks. I'll start off by showing you Calendar and a bunch of things there to speed up scheduling. Then my colleague Priya is going to come up and talk about the in-meeting experience and some ways you can make that more productive. And lastly, Ishwarya will actually show you Jamboard and how you can use that to have more effective brainstorming sessions. At the end, I think we should have plenty of time for Q&A and hopefully be able to answer all of your questions and maybe give you some more tricks or spontaneous demos if there's an opportunity. With that, we'll switch over. It says I'm doing a demo, so here I am. So we're looking at Calendar, and we're using sort of a fictitious example of a smart kitchen appliance company. Part of the team is on the West Coast, part of the team is on the East Coast, so there's like lots of collaboration and lots of video conferencing involved. So first thing we're going to do is imagine we want to take some time off. Take a couple of days off next week because we have family visiting. So I'll be out from Wednesday through Friday. Historically, you might have had to go to every existing meeting and say like, no, I'm not coming to this, or like, I can't make it, unfortunately, and here's why. We have a more satisfying way of doing that. You can just select the 3 days, and when you type in vacation, Calendar automatically detects that and actually says, hey, you just want me to put you in out of office, and I'm happy for you to add a message. For example, I'm out until Monday, I got family visiting. With just one click, technically 2, I've let all of these meeting organizers know that I won't be able to make it, and then they're then free to either move it to the next week. You can see it here. It says like I'm out, I got family visiting. To either move it or to go ahead without me. So that's just one way we can speed up managing the calendar. But more common scenario is, let's say I want to set up a meeting. We're going to talk about our smart kitchen planning. And so we'll go in here, and I got the team on a mailing list, so I can just set that up and go find some time. Fortunately, the window's a little small, but you can see tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., that should work just fine for everyone. So let's go ahead and create that meeting. Turns out I had not considered certain things. Michael is not working on Thursdays, and Priya and Scott are actually on the East Coast, so my 2 p.m. for them is 5 p.m., and therefore after their working hours. Now, had my calendar not warned me, I would have either come across as inconsiderate or probably had some back and forth to move that meeting. Fortunately, calendar did warn me. Now, how did it do that? Let me open a second tab to show you where you can set that up. When you go to settings, you see there's a working hours section down here. Here you can set up your hours, like when you're working on any given day. You can see I generally work 9 to 5, except on Tuesdays where I come in a little earlier so my weekend can start a little sooner. And by the way, while you're in here, and we'll refer back to this later, you should also set up which office you're in and which floor you're on. And you'll see that's relevant when we book meeting rooms. So let's go back here. How could I avoid this? How could I figure out when people's working hours actually are? If you're in here and you switch to the day view, you suddenly see some additional information. So each person gets an individual column, and I can see what is my 2 p.m., is 5 p.m. for Michael, it's 5 p.m. for Priya, and it's 5 p.m. for Scott. So you see the time that you're about to schedule a meeting in every person's time zone. So that lets you hopefully avoid these 2 a.m. meetings or these 11 p.m. meetings for all your other, for all the people that you want to meet with. And for yourself, hopefully that will let others know when you actually want to take meetings and when you don't. So clearly, Thursday doesn't work, but Friday morning actually does. So hopefully these are some things we can speed up, like finding a time for a meeting. But now it's rooms. And rooms actually turns out probably about a third of the time that people try to schedule meetings is spent finding meeting rooms. Now we have some solutions here too. One is, if you actually hover over the meeting rooms, you can see some additional information. You can see how big the room is, you can see what equipment it has, and here, for example, it says that it has windows and it's wheelchair accessible. Now, how do you set that up? If you're an admin, you can go to the admin console and go to Buildings and Resources. And here you can go into the resource management, and you can set up all your buildings, essentially all your offices, and you can then make sure that both your employees are assigned to them as well as your meeting rooms. If you want to create a new meeting room, you go in here, you pick the building that it's in, you pick the floor it's on, you say how many people it fits, and maybe that it has Hangouts Meet hardware and is wheelchair accessible. And if you give it a name, you can then very easily create that. If you have a lot of meeting rooms, you can also do this via CSV upload or via API. That information is then, as you could see, available to employees to look at, but also Calendar actually uses it to automatically find you the best meeting rooms. In this case, myself and Priscilla are in SFO, while Priya, Michael, and Scott are in New York. So Calendar looks at that and says, okay, I need 2 people. I need a room for 2 people in SFO and a room for 3 in New York. And because there's multiple involved, they need to be able to talk to one another, so we'll make sure they're video conferencing enabled. So I'll go ahead and I'll pick infrared, and I'll pick Empire. And with that, hopefully we can avoid these last-minute reschedules because some people were not able to find a meeting room, and therefore the meeting could not go ahead. Before I go ahead and actually create the meeting, I want to make sure I have my agenda attached. So we have a document in Drive that we can attach here. Here it is. and I'll make sure the team reads it. Please read beforehand. And I hit send, and I have my meeting created. Here it is. So as simple as that. Hopefully you can save a bunch of these 90 minutes a week by actually getting ahead of some of these common problems. With that, I'll hand over to Priya, who will now take you through the in-meeting experience.
Hi, I'm Priya, and I'm also a product manager on the Meeting Solutions team. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and quickly do is log into my account over here. OK. So now that we've walked through the scheduling process, all nice and easy, let's actually talk about what happens when you're going into the meeting. And we'll continue to use our smart kitchen planning example to show you what I mean. Now, we've made it nice and easy for you to find and join the right call by providing multiple ways for you to join the meeting. You can either go right to meet.google.com, which will show you a nice overview of our upcoming meetings, or join directly from the calendar invite, which is what I'm going to go ahead and do now. So with that, I'll just click through. And it looks like my colleague Scott is already here in the meeting. Hey, Scott. Oop.
Started on my end.
Awesome. I think OK, looks like the audio is working now. Great, so it looks like we're still waiting for a couple of others to join us on this call. So while we wait, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about what you're about to see. Now, with everything that can go on during a meeting, between presentations and coworkers jumping on and off the call at various times, it can be tough to focus on what actually matters during your meeting, while still feeling like you're genuinely maintaining a connection with everyone you're talking to. And so we've made that easier for you by adding new adaptive layouts to Hangouts Meet. Now, as you're about to see in a couple minutes, I'll let my colleagues go ahead and join the call. You'll start to see the layouts automatically adapt as people join the meeting so that you can have a nice, clear view of everyone you're talking to. And now with that, you can see that I have a nice clear shot of Priscilla, Zach, Michael, and Scott, as soon as their video feeds pop up. OK, hey, everybody. Are we all ready to get started?
Yep.
Perfect. So now that everybody's on the call, let's go ahead and follow our good meeting practices and start by pulling up the agenda that Robin had attached in his calendar invite. Now, this is something that you can do very quickly. Thanks to the new support we've added for attachments within meetings. To simply pull up my attachment very quickly, all I have to do is go to the bottom left hand of my window, go to Attachments, and you see it's right there. And that saves me valuable time in getting the meeting started and getting everybody ready to go. Now, I hate taking meeting notes, so I actually don't want to go ahead and open this up. Can anyone else help me out and do this?
Yeah, I can do it.
Awesome. So now, as we take a look at our meeting agenda, we see the first item on the agenda is to watch a video that I believe Zach had mentioned would be good to take a look at. Now, this is something you will soon be able to do in Meet, as we're continuously looking at ways to supercharge your presenting experience. And I'll show you how to go ahead and do that. You'll simply have to go to the bottom right hand of the screen, click on the Present Now button, select Present a Chrome tab, and make sure you're sharing your audio. But I'm going to let Zach take it from here since it's his video.
Yeah, sure. I found a video that shows how tech is already playing a role in the kitchen. Let's check it out.
OK, Google, show me how to knead dough.
Sure, playing a video on YouTube.
Grasp the side of dough furthest away from you and fold.
OK, Google, next step.
Leave the dough to rise for 30 minutes.
Help at a glance with Google Home Hub.
Great. Thanks for the watch, Zach. Now, we've done a lot of talking about all the ways in which we've made your in-call experience more productive and easier to achieve your goals. But at the end of the day, it's hard to actually have a productive meeting unless you can hear and follow along with what everybody in your call is saying. And this is currently a lot easier for some of us to do than it is for others. For those who are deaf or hard of hearing, which currently makes up 4% of the US workforce, it can be very difficult to follow along with what's going on in your meeting without making special arrangements beforehand. And that's something we really want to make easier. So starting today, we're adding the ability for you to turn on live captions within your Hangouts Meet meetings so that it's easier for anybody to be a part of the conversation. Now, this is launching today and will be available for you to use within the next few weeks. But for now, I'll give you a quick glimpse of how it works. So to enable captions within my call, all I'll do is go to the bottom right hand of my screen and select the option to turn on captions. And with that, we're ready to go. OK, everyone, what kind of smart kitchen appliance do we want to start making next?
Definitely a smart fridge. They've been doing really well.
Agreed. I have so many ideas for what we can do there.
I really think a smart toaster is the way to go.
Sorry, Scott. I like the smart fridge idea too.
Yep, I'm definitely team fridge. And with that, it looks like we have a majority, and we can plan to have a brainstorming session next time. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
OK. And with that, I'll now hand it off to my colleague, Ishwarya, who will tell you about how to have a productive brainstorming session.
So now that you've seen how to be productive in a meeting, let's take a look at meetings that might require a little more remote brainstorming and whiteboarding. Typically, meetings like this are really unproductive and really hard because remote participants have a hard time jumping in and ideating together. A lot of times, the people in the local room are facilitating, and it's hard for remote participants to jump in with their ideas. So, Jamboard is here to solve exactly that problem. Jamboard is a digital collaborative whiteboard that allows you to ideate and brainstorm together from different locations. It saves content on Google Drive so you can access it later. So you avoid the situation where you have to take a picture of a whiteboard and send it out to everyone after the meeting is over. So let's take a look at features on the Jamboard itself. Well, it is a whiteboard, so hopefully you'd be able to draw and erase. But the nice part is, because it is digital, you can do cool things like use the lasso tool to group elements together, make them bigger, and even smaller if you need more room to write. My personal favorite feature is actually the auto draw tool. So you can open up the toolbar on the right-hand side, tap on the auto draw tool, and easily convert your drawings into illustrations right on the board. And if you're not an artist, so someone like me, this is a great way to still add visual content directly on the board. So we've taken a look at how Jamboard has really solved the whiteboarding use case, but we're really excited to bring you our integration with Hangouts Meet to tie Jamboard even closer to the meeting room, especially because a lot of these whiteboarding use cases happen in the meeting room itself. Let's take a look at what that means and looks like on the board. So if you can see, there's a Meet icon that shows up on the top right-hand corner of the board. When I tap on it, it expands into a menu. The first item on the menu is actually join or start a meeting. And if I tap on this, I'm able to join a meeting with a meeting code, and if I don't have one, I can actually start a new meeting directly on the Jamboard. But it looks like we have a meeting schedule here, so I'll join that in just a second. Your admin, or if you're an admin in the room, you can actually configure your Jamboard to enable this option to be persistently available on the Jamboard. Once you do this, the Jamboard can be used as a meeting room device or standalone meeting room device, and of course, you can also pair with Calendar to be able to use the Jamboard as a bookable resource in a room. So, as I said before, it looks like we already have a meeting scheduled, and our team's probably waiting for us, so I'll go ahead and join. With one tap, I'm dropped into this immersive Hangouts Meet experience with my team waiting for me. The active speaker is in the center of the screen, and all other meeting participants show up on the right-hand side. The really unique thing here is actually this tap to jam bar on this side. This bar, when I tap on it, it actually allows me to access the whiteboarding portion of the Jamboard. From here, I can still use all the Jamboard tools I was using before. I can open the menu, I can switch tools, I can save, and I can share. But the really cool part is I'm still in the meeting, and I can always switch back and forth between full screen meeting And I can switch at any time to the whiteboarding portion, all while still being in a call. All right, so our team is ready to go, and this is actually our team, our Jamboard team from the New York and San Francisco office, and they're really excited to be part of this demo. But for the purposes of this demo, we're going to do video only. The Jamboard is fully equipped with both video and audio for meetings, but just for simplicity, we're going to keep it video only. All right, team, are you guys ready to get started? Cool. Okay, I'm not really sure where we left off last time. Can someone please present the meeting minutes? Cool, thanks, Carolina. All right, so Carolina is actually presenting her laptop screen directly into the call. And because of this integration with Hangouts Meet, we're able to see exactly what's on her screen and use the Jamboard as a secondary display or just a presentation screen in a room. So let's take a look at these action items. It looks like we have to, 1, brainstorm smart fridge features, and 2, create a high-level design for our smart fridge, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to tap to jam, and everyone on our team is going to hop onto the same jam. I've actually prepped this jam and attached it to the meeting ahead of time so everyone can easily access it and collaborate with me. All right, let's do this. I'm also going to go ahead and present my jam into the meeting just in case someone doesn't have access. Everyone can still follow the meeting, and of course, anyone that has access to the jam can always hop on and collaborate with me. All right, I'm going to go to the second frame. Can we think of some cool smart fridge features that we'd want to see? All right, so as the team starts adding ideas, oh, looks like we already have some. So they want to see what's in the fridge on the go. They want to see recipe ideas. They want the fridge to help them eat healthy. And of course, we do want some assistive features on the fridge itself. These are some awesome ideas. As you can see here, if we were all in the same room, this would be super easy for us to do. We'd just walk up to a whiteboard maybe, and throw some Post-its on there with our ideas, and we'd be able to easily talk about our ideas and discuss them. But because we're all in different rooms, that becomes a lot harder. With the Jamboard, we're able to use a sticky note tool to help us get there. Let me show you all the devices that people have been using to collaborate with us so far. It looks like Priscilla is in San Francisco on her iPad using the iOS Jamboard application. Zach over here is on his Pixelbook, so he's joined from the Android application. And it looks like the rest of our team is actually on their laptop. So they're using the Jamboard web application. Let me tap back to Jam. So as you can see here, it's super easy for everyone to, regardless of the device they're on or the room they're in, to whiteboard with me. So let's take a look at a different scenario where, let's do this. Let's elaborate on seeing what's in the fridge and maybe assistive features. Can we think of a way to combine both of those into maybe a design? Let's do this on the next frame. Priscilla, can you design maybe an iPhone app for us that shows us what the content of our fridge looks like? Priscilla's our really talented designer from the San Francisco office. So let's see what she has up her sleeve. Oh, it looks like Scott's actually added an image as well. That's great. All right, so let's see. We can use the Google Home Hub and the design on this phone to maybe be able to ask our phone what's in our fridge. That sounds about right. So in the previous exercise, you saw how our team was able to just throw content using the sticky note tool, and we were able to discuss our ideas. But here, we're able to use the drawing tools and even our image search tool to add content, more visual content, to help us with our discussion. This design looks great, Priscilla. Actually, I have a really good idea. Do you think you could draw us a fridge too? Let me see. Maybe if I move this directly onto the fridge, then we can just ensure the same design shows up on both our iPhone app and the fridge itself. That looks about right. I think we really have something here. Thanks, team. See you in New York. Okay, so that was just a lightweight, thanks. So that was just a lightweight demo of what collaboration can really look like in the workspace. As I said before, these kinds of remote brainstorming meetings can be really hard when there's distributed offices and people on different devices that may not be able to see the whiteboard or discuss with you. But using these tools on the Jamboard, we really make that seamless. And by bringing meetings to the Jamboard, we've brought Jamboard even closer to solving the remote collaborating and whiteboarding problem. And so with that, I really hope you were able to take away 2 to 3 tips that you can take back to your organization and share with your colleagues to make your meetings more productive and more effective. Oh, I do have one more thing to say. So BenQ has a great promotion going on for Jamboards at their booth. If you buy a Jamboard, you actually get the stand for free, and that's over $1,000 value. So I really encourage you to stop by their booth, check out the promotion, and also play around with the Jamboard they have there.